All right, Mr. BenchMonsta, I got to kind of pick up where we left off.
Okay.
All the competition benches that I've seen you execute were pretty much flawless. The lockouts were 100% clean, looked identical like what a raw bench lockout would look like.
Right.
And I know that's like an aspect of geared benching. It's plagued a lot of people. And even like with judges, did it lock out? Did it not lock out? There's been some questionable lifts passed. Whereas I've seen yours pretty much undeniable. If you get the lift, it's 3 white lights.
Yeah.
So what is there anything you could like some of the geared benchers that might be listening? Are there any like tips, trade secrets or something that you want to share? How did you do that?
I'm gonna have to go back to the beginning. We did a lot of back in the day, we didn't know what a board press was. So we were doing a lot of rack lockouts, and we did a lot of close grip benching, and I think the key is to lock out every rep, take it all the way to the top. Don't short stroke anything. And looking back on my training, when I benched, whether it was a close grip bench, a full range bench, or in the rack, I locked out and practiced at snapping, because I trained very explosively at snapping that lockout. Not just when I tell people about how they should be pressing towards lockout, they should be pressing to lockout like they're being hit with a cattle prod, like electrocuted with a cattle prod. You got to snap and explode and do that. And that's how I trained. I never just pressed against weights. I violently contracted and exploded. And I think doing those things really established a clean lockout. A lot of guys, when they lock out, they look like they're a few inches short from lockout. And a lot of lifts like that are passed. We see it time and time again, and it's probably never going to go away. But you yourself have to, in training, take that lift, whatever it is you're doing, and make sure that, and you yourself know when it's locked. I mean, I know what a soft lock looks like with me. I know what a soft lockout looks like and feels like, and right. I know what a locked out lift looks like when when the elbows snap. So I always try for the elbows snap lockout. I don't just push up and like hold it. You got to like physically, and I always teach people to spread the bar, pushing the bar apart. And that's an important training tool. When somebody's bench pressing and it's near maximal weight, the lifter himself is thinking, bring the bar down, bring the bar up. Nothing, so we do a lot of verbal cues, which I think are important, like spread the bar and break the bar and things of that nature. So when the lifter is pressing, they hear the commands and react. They don't have to think them. So I'm a big proponent on coaching during the lift. And that's kind of, and as far as lockout, I mean, you have to train to, snap those elbows at the top and not just let it float to the top. You have to, completely extend. And sometimes it's painful when you go past at that point all the way up, but that's how you have to do it on every rep.
Yeah, I'd say at that stage of the game, every aspect of the sport is painful. So
yeah, nothing's comfortable. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think like hearing a lot of guys, whether it's squatters, benchers, deadlifters that have been like insanely successful, hear about it's a common theme. They've done a lot of like rack work, pin work, partial work in their years. So it's kind of cool to hear that too.
Yeah. And then
kind of a lost aspect in a lot of the up and coming lifters. They just don't seem to be doing it.
Well, you see it in deadlift too. I've seen a few deadlifts, and I'm not a deadlift specialist myself. Deadlifts that come off the ground and and they're not completely locked, but they're holding it without their their hips fully extended and shoulders completely back. So and I'm not saying as far as squats, I'm not going to judge any squat to say it wasn't. I think in the squat you either make it or you don't.
Right.
But the bench press though, it's never going to fix itself. So you get what you get. You're going to see records passed, some of them without a rack command, some of them with a soft lock, and then again in these new shirts that they have, sometimes you can't see the part of the arm to see whether it's completely locked because the sleeve goes all the way to the elbow. It can't go over the elbow, but when it's covered so greatly, it's sometimes it's hard to tell. One thing good about in our era, you had those Phenom bench press shirts and they were tight, skin tight all the way up your arm. So you could really tell. There's so much extra baggage now on the band sleeve. I believe there's a lot of extra material there that makes it kind of hard to tell if it's totally locked. But we leave that up to the judges and hope for the best.
Period. Yeah. Well, a real quick question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
I noticed like the musculature of like your forearms and your hands is like pretty like intergalactic, man. Is there any special exercises you did to really build that hand strength and forearm strength, or is that just a byproduct of all like the brutal bench training you've done?
Genetics. My dad had big forearms, and there's a story behind that too. I worked in a restaurant as a prep cook, line cook for like 7 years, and we had this little cocky server that would come back into the kitchen and arm wrestle. And he came back and he beat me. Okay. And I was like, "You motherfucker, you're not going to beat me again." And he was beating everybody. This was I mean, he wasn't muscular, but he was good. And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna do forearm work. I'm gonna do everything I can take." And I remember I worked out for like 6 weeks and I did a lot of gripper work, a lot of I have those little grippers with the springs on them, and I actually still use them when I'm watching TV. I constantly I train my forearms specifically once a week anyway. But I did a lot of forearm work and a lot of hammer curl work to build my forearms up. But my dad had big forearms, so I think it's a genetic thing. As far as the hands, I think just benching heavy in general is going to make your hands bigger. That will happen over the course of time. You handle big weight on a consistent basis, your bones, I mean, they're going to get stronger, and your hands are gonna look weird like mine. I mean, I got some weird.
Their paws, they're awesome.
Paws, yeah, but that, my dad had sausage fingers, and my dad had big hands, so that's how it's very important. Genetics play an important role. We touched on synthetic hormone derivatives, which is a technical term for steroids, the big fear mongering term the media uses. But those genetics, I mean, Pee Wee Herman, he could take all the steroids in the world and he'll probably shit out a liver before he ever benches at 500 pounds. Right. So, you got to have genetics. You got to look, the proof's in the pudding. Look at your parents. And a lot of times when people come to lift with me and I see down the road, like, okay, how big is your mom? How big is your dad? Well, my mom's 5 foot, my dad's 5'1". You're not going to be an NBA basketball star. And genetically, you're not going to be a 300-pound man. It's just, genetics play an important role. I didn't realize how important it was until it was all said and done. And I look back and now I see others trying to come up and I'm like, oh, I want to be 300 pounds, and it takes everything for them just to get to, 290, and then they can't breathe and they're complaining. And, so you have to, genetics are important. So, absolutely. And like I said, that's how I inherited my forearms. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha. And a little bit of work went into it on top.
Oh, tons of work, tons of work. Yeah. A lot of gripper, a lot of forearm, a lot of hammer curls and all those things. And I think, squeezing the bar, when you bench press, you have to squeeze the fucking bar. And I think gripping the bar like that over the course of time, Tiny Meeker, all Gus Rethwich told me, and I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but he told me, he says, Kennelly, all the great bench pressers have big forearms. Ken Lane, Anthony Clark, Craig Tokarski, and it goes on and on. So, and I remember Gus telling me that, and it made me train my forearms and train my hammer curls. And of course I wanted to have biceps like Hulk Hogan. I want 24-inch arms. I never got those. I got them up to 23 or 22 3/4, I think was my biggest. I couldn't hit the 24 mark, but yeah. So that, I had goals to have a big bench and big arms, because that's all people really cared about, and I think they still do. When you walk around town, nobody's asking you how much you deadlift. They want to know how big are your arms and how much can you bench. And so that's
your squat.
Yeah, nobody asked that.
Right.
I think I've been asked how much can I deadlift twice in my life, and one was just recently, about 6 months ago, at a Chipotle restaurant. I was ordering a burrito, and this young kid goes, "Man, what do you deadlift?" And my girlfriend's laughing because she thinks that's fucking funny because she likes the deadlift and squat, and I hate the deadlift. I mean, Bull Stewart,
that's my only saving grace.
Yeah, Bull Stewart told me in 1997. Bull Stewart was a 242 guy who pulled 800, and I remember walking up to Bull and I go, "Bull, I want to be just like you. I want to pull 800." He goes, "Kennelly," I said, you deadlifting will make your bench go down. And I was like, I never forgot that. And unless you're a gifted guy like Dave Hoff, who can do all three phenomenally, but So I opted to not do deadlifts, and I suck at them anyway. So, but I'm kind of glad to be a great bench presser for as tall as I am too. I wish I was 5'10" with short Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, but man, I got a long wingspan, man, and I actually destroyed my lower back, contorting my lower spine, lower lumbar for so many years, and really getting the hips under my body. And I did a lot of damage to L4 down, and I'm paying the price for that. So, it's all wear and tear in the body. We're not put on this earth to bench press 1,000 pounds, I don't think, but that's the levels of the extreme sport that we take it to, and the things you're willing to do to get there. And you have to you have to want it more. I think you got to be a little crazy too. You can't be a normal pencil pusher, suit wearing guy. You got to be a little insane in the membrane to do this shit, man, because it takes a special type of individual. And we're all introverts, extroverts, or whatever, but a lot of the guys I have, I mean, they're blank in the eyes. I mean, they're a little out there, and but that's what it takes. That's the people I like to lift with that are a little crazy. So, in a good way.
To touch what you mentioned something earlier, like when you weren't hyper focused on a specific goal or like really on task, that's when you went off the rails. And there is something to that, man. There's like a whole different genetic tick to that type of person. And I speak from experience. If like there's not some total like hyper intense activity that you're naturally pursuing, you're gonna find one anyway.
Yeah.
Like no doubt. Hey, quick on nutrition too. People have what you now. I don't think I ever hit the 15,000 calorie mark. Maybe a time or two, but when I had my powerlifting training really dialed in, I would like make sure like the first couple days of the week I was up there like 11,000, 12,000 calories. But what I found was like daily monitoring. This is for people that claim to be a hard gainer and can't gain weight, etc. I would literally like have the multiple body weight check-ins throughout the day. If the weight wasn't even being maintained or moving up, then regardless what the calorie indicator was, I just wasn't eating enough food. So I encourage people sometimes to, measure their food in pounds or not necessarily calories.
Right. And the secret to gaining weight like that is you don't start out eating 15,000 calories. You take your average person who's probably getting 6,000. And what the secret is high calorie shakes, because you can't eat 15,000 calories in food and break down, process, assimilate it in a day. So what you have to do, and I take digestive enzymes like papaya extract when I was doing this, and I was eating two 16-ounce New York steaks a day, baked potatoes, chocolate cream pie. But my main calorie intake came from shakes, and I tried to do 2,500 calorie shakes with milk, and it turned into a blizzard in the blender. Right. So I had to get Champion Nutrition like 1675 calorie shakes and use half water, half milk. And I was doing 4 of those a day. So, you're almost getting 8,000 calories in shakes, and then you get the rest in food. But you have to slowly make that process. Most people have 3-4 meals a day. I say throw in a 1,600 calorie shake in between one of those meals. Once you get comfortable with that, you start bumping it up, and your stomach will expand. I mean, if you're training 6 days a week and you're training hard, you're not going to get fat. You're going to get big all over. But I only had 1 day off a week, and on the day off, I would drop my calories down to like 5,000 because there's no reason on that day to consume 15,000 calories. Right. I would lose 10 pounds in a day just by doing that. So it was just I wasn't even hungry. I was just grabbing and you just ate and swallowed. It just, your stomach never growled. You just constantly were putting down food. And it was easy. I hate to make that term easy, but it wasn't hard. I got to that point and I wasn't doing anything that would stimulate appetite. I wasn't smoking marijuana. I wasn't taking any equipoise, whatever stimulates appetite. This was just all natural. And I love to eat though. You remember I worked in a restaurant for 7 years, so I love to eat red meat. I love pie. I love the shakes. I love eating out Whoppers and stuff. So I mean, getting calories down is very simple.
Did you just say that the average person, I mean, I'm assuming who trains very hard in the same way you do, eats like 6,000 calories a day?
That's exaggerated. I think the average person consumes probably 4. I mean, the guys that I train with, they're not pushing the envelope with food. I mean, I would walk around with if I was going somewhere, like I had to go on Sundays, I'd have to travel an hour south to go train with my team and get handoffs to do 1,000 pounds. And I had a cooler I took with me, and I would carry It's one of those water type ones that have the little spigot on it. And I would put 2 shakes in there, which was like 5,000 calories in shakes. And I would drink that traveling back and forth. So I got 5,000 at least on that day. So it's sometimes you got to bring your food with you, and you got to do a little meal prepping, and yeah, you can't miss a meal. I think that in 1997, an Oregon bodybuilding show, that guy, Canadian bodybuilder Dan Kovacs or Greg Kovacs or whatever his name was, the 400-pound guy, he made a quote. He said, I'd rather miss a workout than miss a meal. And I'll never forget that. And he was 400-pound man. So I was like, oh,
very lean. I remember seeing it.
very lean. Yeah. But I remember him saying that, and I was like, don't miss a workout, but don't miss a meal. So yeah, food's very important. Food is like the most anabolic substance you can put in your body without, I have a prophecy, or kind of a spiel that I tell people: eating, sleeping, training, supplementation, and technique. You got to maxify all those points right there to be the best in the world. And then genetics then at the very end plays an important role too. So if you want it bad enough and you're willing to do it, you gotta have it in you, in your heart and your head. And if you don't have that mentality, then maybe you should try bodybuilding or just your basic weightlifting program. So because dude, my door is open all the time. I invite people to come train with us. It looks fun from the outside with the bands and chains and all this, but once they get in there and find out it's commitment, because we don't miss workouts on my team unless you're dead in jail or in the hospital or have COVID. So you either show up and you don't miss. And it's you're in this to you want out. And then if you're out, then don't come back. Don't miss. Yeah, I'm telling you, but nobody lines up to come in and do this. It's hard to find people that want to come in and do this crazy shit that we do. And that's just the bench pressing part of it. I got guys that are 3 lifters, and I'm not. So they bench, they squat and deadlift on different days. But the bench crew that I have is 15 people, and we're all in there trying to be the best in the world at what we're doing. So nobody's in there just to exercise.
Right. Yeah, fuck that. Like, how do you train yourself and those people? You said that you started out like really accelerating by following the lead of Louis Simmons, and you also say you train like 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. So I'm guessing that you took like the West Side Conjugate system and then over time adapted it into your own kind of system. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. Since I've since I met Louis Simmons in 2001, that has changed. A lot of my workouts are work density. It's how, on speed day, it's how much work and volume we can get in 1 hour. Max effort bench press days, I try to keep it 2 hours. I don't want to be there 5 hours, because we used to do that, and I think we try to get the majority of the heavy part of our benching done in the first hour. Then I like to have an hour of triceps and shoulders. So I've really condensed the workouts. I don't think there's a reason to be in the gym 5 hours doing what we do anymore. Back in the day, I did. Yeah, we started at 11. We're done at 4, and it was.
Well, you weren't wrong.
Yeah,
based on the outcome, you weren't wrong.
It worked. I mean, looking back, all of it worked. There was nothing I did that we tried some guinea pig stuff, and we tried some different things, and if they worked, they worked. If they didn't, we threw it out. But we constantly did the things that worked, and everybody has special strengths and special weaknesses. So each person is somewhat different. But we all help each other, and we all do what it takes to be the best in our game. And without a team that shares that passion, then you ain't got nothing. So that's important.
So Ryan, I got a question for you, Ryan. Just popped to my head that I think is important. Like, getting in the zone, the flow, the psychological approach, your pre-lift, like psych. Like, could you share with us like what that was all about, if you even can, or was it just come so natural to you? The bar is loaded, and you just went and smashed it.
So prior to a big lift, like on the Arnold stage, or prior to going up to 1,000 pounds, for me, it's hard to explain. I got to have my music going. I got to have my grinder 6 feet under, and once that music comes on, and my handoff guy would start wrapping my wrists. There's a weird thing that there's nothing going on in my brain except I just see the bar. I never look at the weights. I never look at the weights on each side, like how wide do they, the kilo plates are on each side. He's wrapping my wrists. I hear the music, and I kind of get this 1,000-yard stare, and nothing is going through my mind other than the bar, and I'm looking at the center of the bar. So then when I get up there, I've done it time and time again, how I set up, how I put my feet up on the bench, how I set up, lock in my feet. And it's done time and time again, because I do the same thing in training, but not with the same intensity. Obviously, I save that the 110% intensity for the meet. So when in the gym, I'm a little more focused, a little slower, but it's a zone. I literally get in a zone, and
I think you did a good job of describing it. Actually,
yeah, really and good. That's how I do it. I really, my mind goes blank as far as everything except for the center of the bar. And I know, I know how to grab the bar. All those, then it all just comes together when I set up, put my hands in the bar, take the breath of air, get the hand off, I'm pushing with my feet. Then it's all everyday business, because I've done it time and time and time again in training. So it's nothing new, but you have to get that pre-psych thing going. And I was pretty good at of course I used to get slapped in the face, really hard by a girl. So that too,
but that was not at a powerlifting meet.
But the problem is with that, usually I got pretty high blood pressure at a meet. And so when she hits my nose, it just opens up like a faucet. And then when I lay down the bench with all that pressure, then I have the infamous, bleeding from the eyeball thing, where my tear ducts squirt blood out 4 inches in each eye well. So
yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's entertaining. Yeah. So it adds something to the show as far as entertainment value.
Right. So I'll tell you what, hearing what you just had to say, I can relate to that. At times, I think I poured a little too much intensity pre-meet, where I just, looking back on my performances, there were some times I was just geeked out of my mind at kind of the last heavy day or something like that leading up to the contest. And I just was not quite able to get to that, whatever that state of mind is. I just, looking back at it, I know it's because I just dumped the throttle a little too hard in the gym, as opposed to managing it to save it for the platform.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, we take 5 to 7 days off before a contest, and those are probably, and that's when I lock myself at home. 7 days before a meet, I don't go out, I don't interact with people. I used to live alone, and I liked it because I don't know if it was psychologically healthy, but I would sit and go over it in my head, and I wouldn't doubt myself, but I would say, I've trained hard, I didn't miss a lift. I had a training regimen. I kind of knew how to do it, because I think, at the end of so far in my life, I've attempted 1,000 or more pounds 28 times all over this planet. And I've completed 18 of those. I completed 18,000 plus bench presses. So, wow. And what's really weird is, and I know nobody's going to believe this, but there was a time in my lifting career where my opener was 1,000 or 1,010. And I remember, and I referenced the Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal Lecter ate that lady's tongue and his heartbeat didn't get over 60 beats per minute. I would go up to the opener, and I wasn't even my heart wasn't even racing. I didn't care about the opener. I wanted the second and third attempt, because my best lift always was my second lift. So there was many times I walked up to 1,000, 1,005, 1,010 opener, and I'm just hurry up, wrap my wrist. I mean, I wasn't even in the zone. And I disrespected the weight. I kind of did, because it was nothing. There was a time, when I had it down from having the perfect bench press shirt, the perfect technique. It was easy. That lift was easy. Now you put 75.
I would say kudos to you. I think that's just badass energy management, knowing how to
yeah. There you go. Maybe that was a blessing, just not getting amped up for that lift. But the second attempt would either be 1055, 1074, 1075, and then a third attempt would always try the 1100 usually. So, but yeah, energy management, that's exactly, and I didn't realize that at the time, but I saved it. And I would go out there and just hit that and then try to get to the second attempt. And that's usually where I excelled and did the
game
most.
On.
Yeah.
But Matthias, any questions that you can think of you'd like to ask?
Please do.
Well, yeah, I would love to get this question out. So how did you, how do you structure your week of training? You said you had your 2 bench days. Do you have any other bench days? Do you have a back day?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. Basically, my workout schedule goes as follows. Monday, I do traps and forearms. It's a small workout. It's pretty simple, because Tuesday is max effort bench, and that's a 2.5 hour workout. Wednesday, I do extra triceps. I wake up the next day, go to the gym, and I do 1 extra tricep exercise. Could be anything. Could be push downs. I train them again because their triceps are a small muscle group and they recuperate in 12 to 24 hours. So I go in and train them again. And then I do biceps, and I train like a bodybuilder. I want guns, guns for the girls type of thing. So train the biceps. I still got over 21-inch arms and train biceps. Come Thursday is legs. I'm not my back's literally effed up, so I do a lot of box squatting. I do a lot of leg press, a lot of other things, but I train the legs because bench press is a total body movement. It is not just a upper body movement. You use your whole body in the bench press. So I got to have the explosiveness in my legs. Friday is a speed bench dynamic effort day. That is a 1 hour and 5 minute workout that most people cannot do in 2.5 hours. Normal people. It is back to back to back sets, reps. There's no rest, builds conditionings, builds GPP within the workout. Saturday is all back. Just like a bodybuilder, train back like a bodybuilder. I always prided myself on having powerlifter power with a bodybuilder build. And I know when I was 350, 360, I didn't look pretty. But at the time, sponsors would call me up and say, hey, Ryan, we need to do a photo shoot. I would go from 15,000 calories down to chicken and rice and vegetables for 3 or 4 weeks. And I would drop, and I don't know if this was too healthy, drop from 350 down to 310. And I would do a photo shoot, take some pictures, and then I would balloon back up. So I remember doing that a few times. I don't know. And I could roller coaster it pretty easy. I could drop in 4 weeks and put it back on in 4 weeks, just like a yo-yo. So,
wow.
But Sunday's
pretty
off.
Cool.
Sometimes on Sunday, I still go into the gym and spot my girlfriend because she's squatch. She's a 3-lift competitor. So if I'm in the gym spotting her, Louis Simmons always says, when in doubt, do more triceps. So a lot of times if I'm in there on a Sunday, this is kind of where I get in trouble because then I find myself I'm working out every day and I'm not taking a day off from the gym. But I love to be in the gym. I live in the gym every day is fine with me. I find something to do. I'll train calves. I'll train forearms. I'll find something to do because there's always improvement. There's always room for improvement. There's always something that can be built stronger or better. And I thank God for mirrors in the gym because a lot of times I'll look in the mirror and I'll say, man, my front delts are pretty overdeveloped today. I'll do some rear delts. My forearms, the yada, yada, yada. I'll do pec deck. You can't have 1,000-pound triceps and 10-pound pecs. So you got to find things to train, even on off days. You find a simple muscle group. If you're in the gym, sometimes I do cardio. I'll do 20 minutes on the elliptical. Cardiovascular is important for heart health, and there's just a whole host of things. There's always something to do in the gym. So don't go to the gym and leave your fucking phone at home. Don't bring your phone to the gym. I hate people that play on their phones and sit on equipment. That is one of the things that will get you slapped upside the head. If I wanted that in the gym I train at, we're starting to get a bunch of, I know it's the New Year's resolution people. We're starting to get a lot of people that are doing that. And I know what you're going to say. Hey, my workout program is on my phone. Okay.
Blah, blah.
But you know what I do? If I see somebody playing on their phone, I walk around them and I look right on their fucking phone. And if I see the chat box and texting and, a lot of people listen to music too, but get off your fucking phone. I mean, get in there and train. And if you want to do that, go to Gold's Gym. Go to some gym where you can play on your phone, sit on equipment. Don't do it when I'm in the gym. That's kind of a pet peeve for me. So I don't bring my phone to the gym. Never do. So
don't go texting dumb posts and getting into arguments with people on your phone while you're training. I mean, just don't text people when you're in the gym.
I'm just not. I don't want to be bothered. I'm not there to talk on the phone. If I brought my phone to the gym to talk to, would be Louis Simmons. If I was to call anybody on this earth, it would be Louis Simmons, and I don't need to call him during training. I'm pretty much I do my thing, and I don't bring a phone. So
did you say that Mondays are for training your traps? I didn't quite catch Mondays.
Yeah, yes, traps, yeah.
And you spend 2 hours just training your traps on Monday?
No. That workout's about 45 minutes. I don't train slow. I don't take long rest periods. I do usually it's high volume or heavy. I train. I don't do a set and then walk around for 5 minutes and talk to people. I do a set, go get a drink of water, come back, do another set, switch my hand placing, switch the angle. But if you want hours on my specific workouts, Monday is about 45 minutes. Tuesday is 2 hours and a half. Biceps on Wednesday is 1 hour and 10. Legs is about 1 hour and 45. And Friday is 1 hour and 10 minutes speed bench. Saturday back takes about 1 hour and 10 minutes too. We train very fast. Set after set after set.
This is after 30 years of like building a freaking maximum foundation. Also, this is not.
I never used to train like that. I used to go to the gym and and do a set and walk around and talk, do a set. But time. I don't want to be in the gym for 2 hours if I don't have to be. I want to get home and eat. I want to get home and cook meals. I want to get home and read a sports science of training book or something. There's other things I need to do. I'm just there to get my work done and get the hell out of there. So yeah.
I think that's definitely a misconception for like newer lifters that they think the longer they train, the bigger and stronger they get, the more hours they have to train. But yeah, to a certain point in the first number of years, I mean, you learn over time to do more in less time.
Another thing too is I think Louis Simmons said if you're an all natural trainer, your serum testosterone levels drop after an hour and 20 minutes of vigorous training. So you try to get the majority of your training done in the first hour and 15 if you're an all natural individual, because after that your serum testosterone levels drop. So you're kind of that's why you need to get the most of the work done in an hour and 20. I say no. I mean, there's no reason to be in the gym longer than that, but I see it every day. I see people in there like they live there. So
sure.
Yeah. So I mean, we are on 30 minute mark, but we would definitely love to have you back another time. I mean, we could definitely have taken another hour if it wasn't like a radio show where it has to be an hour total.
Oh, that's right. But let's and we can do another interview at some point in time.
Yeah. I mean, we really scratched the surface, and I just people that are listening to this, are going to look at it and and be judgmental. I assume they're going to look at my story and they're going to hear me talking about performance enhancing medicines, and they're going to say, well, that's the reason he could do it. You're going to have those holier than thou people make those assumptions, but this is 30 plus years of hard work that I've put in, and that's what this is a commitment, almost a lifetime commitment, to be the best in the world. If that's what you're after. I don't 100%. know if you're after a pro card, you're in CrossFit. I mean, you're in there for a reason, you share a passion, and but these fly by night people that go to the gym and they're there February and March and April, then you never see them the rest of the year. I mean, there's those kind of people too, and they have their place. But no, this has been a pleasure, man.
Ryan, plugs BenchMonsta TV on YouTube. Anything else you want to plug, Ryan?
No, like I said, man, we have a live show Thursday night, 7 p.m. on BenchMonsta TV, and we showcase social media lifters, and it's positive. We don't talk politics. We don't talk steroids. We keep it positive, man. And we started doing it because of COVID a couple of years ago. We were stuck at home, and I wanted to create a podcast TV show thing where we were positive and kept it positive, and that's what we do. And there's too much negativity out there. I've done one too many interviews where people got me to bash other people or wanted me to bash other people and talk shit and be negative, and that's not what my show's about. And if you're into that sort of thing and want to have a enjoyable experience and maybe learn a thing or two, then drop by BenchMonsta TV Thursday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube.
Badass. Hey, much love, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. My direct number, 360-939-7652. Peace.